every pleasure it was heaven sent. No doubt you had yourself angel wings, flying high in the sky, carefree. You'd say, let's play and be happy now. You say, time to seek, not to hide. I'd say, that's a fine way to live your life. You say, it's a need satisfied, a dream come true. All you wanted was a life of bliss, made of sunshine, not the morning mist. It's not a fight, you know, to get your way. Take a breath is what you'd always say. But could you live in the land of the rhythm, where there's no left or right, only middle? Dark of night more than light of day. Less to get while there's more to pay. You'd say, let's play and be happy now. You'd say, time to seek, not to hide. I'd say, that's a fine way to live your life. You say, it's a need satisfied, a dream come true. I got a taste of the real world. I got battered on the North Shore. It gave me comfort when I always knew that. I always knew that you were there for me next door. I lived it hard on the long road. I ran through every single zip code. I get lonely, but I always knew that. I always knew that your heart I could call home, and nothing could ever stand in our way. Whether it all falls down, whether it all falls through, I know that you'll be waiting there for me when I come through. Even if I get knocked down, even if I get pushed through, I know you'll be standing there for me, strong like a statue, oh like a statue, statue, oh like a statue, statue, oh like a statue, statue.
Look, I'm trying to talk to the people that want to talk to me back. Have a real conversation without all the attack. You always gave me the pass, you never took with that ass, never the tip for the tat. Now that's a friend of the max. You were always like that though. Came to every in-town show, always jamming in the front row. Good vibes, Palo Santo,
And nothing could ever stand in our way. Whether it all falls down, whether it all falls through, I know that you'll be waiting there for me when I come through. Even if I get knocked down, even if I get pushed through, I know you'll be standing there for me, strong like a statue, oh like a statue, statue, oh like a statue, statue, oh like a statue, statue. Hey oh oh oh, hey oh oh, hey oh oh oh, hey oh oh, hey oh oh, hey oh oh, hey oh. Whether it all falls down, whether it all falls through, I know that you'll be waiting there for me when I come through. Even if I get knocked down, even if I get pushed through, I know you'll be standing there for me, strong like a statue, oh like a statue, statue, oh like a statue, statue, oh like a statue, statue.
If we're gonna go crazy, let's go together.
I know we only got one life to live. Every second on the clock is it. Everybody gotta stop the talk ticking. Turn up, we still got the music loud. The only way we're gonna get through it. So don't nobody go stop the rock hitting.
The fever outside your cabin. Seize the moment, reach out and grab it. If we're gonna get higher, set it on fire. It's now or never. If we're gonna
Look up, look up, look up, look up at all of that blue sky now. There's a piece of it for everyone to do what they want with it, with it. Live up, live up, live up to who you know you're meant to be. I know you got the invite, 'cause we all got the invite.
The fever outside your cabin.
Leave it and go!
Seize the moment, reach out and grab it.
Come on, reach out and grab it!
If we're gonna get higher, set it on fire. It's now or never. If we're gonna go crazy, let's go together. Even if we lose our heads, it's alright 'cause we got friends. If we're gonna go crazy, let's go together.
Let's go together. You and I, we got all the time. If we're gonna go crazy, gonna go crazy. Gonna go crazy!
If we're gonna get higher, set it on fire. It's now or never. If we're gonna go crazy, let's go together. Even if we lose our heads, it's alright 'cause we got friends. If we're gonna go crazy, let's go together. If we're gonna get higher, set it on fire. It's now or never. If we're gonna go crazy, let's go together.
everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm PA Dems Chairwoman Nancy Patton Mills. Thank you so much for joining us for the Pennsylvania Democratic Party's second annual Independence Dinner. Pennsylvania plays a critical role in this historic election. We know it. We have the opportunity to flip back to blue to elect Joe Biden as president and Kamala Harris as vice president. We also have the opportunity to win a Democratic majority of the state House for the first time in 10 years and to win a Democratic majority of the state Senate for the first time in history. Tonight, we have a star-studded, interactive celebration of Pennsylvania featuring Democratic leaders, activists, and celebrities from across the Commonwealth and the entire country. Throughout the night, we want to hear from you. I encourage you to interact wherever you are watching. Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Look for your name on the screen when you donate at independencedinner.com. We'd love for you to join in the conversation. Now, without further ado, please welcome our first guest speaker, Pennsylvania's own Sharon Stone.
Hi, fellow native Pennsylvanians. I'm Sharon Stone, and I'm here to talk to you about why I'm voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Yes, I've been a lifelong Democrat, but I haven't always voted on one side of the aisle. And I don't believe that Trump made America great again, and I don't believe that he followed through on his promises. And we Pennsylvanians are we're pretty tough about keeping our word. You know, my dad told me growing up that a person is only as good as their word, and I believe that. I really do. And I've had the great opportunity of working with Vice President Biden, and he's kept his word all the time. And I've had the opportunity of working with Kamala Harris through other people, and her work has been amazing, ferocious, and for the people. And I can say that I'm voting for Biden-Harris because I trust them and because they kept their word. And that means everything to me. And as a fellow native Pennsylvanian, I'm sure you know what I mean. We're sick and tired of people telling us stuff that is a load of you-know-what. So if you're sick and tired of that too, vote blue, vote Biden-Harris, and thank you.
Hello, Pennsylvania Democrats. It's your neighbor from across the Delaware, Cory Booker. I just want to say thank you all for your work. Starting, I've got to thank Chairwoman Nancy Mills for her incredible leadership for the Pennsylvania Democrats. And of course, I got to give a shout out to my friend and my colleague in the Senate and beyond, Senator Bob Casey. This is truly a moment where Pennsylvania is at a crossroads. This election, where you all are indeed a battleground state, from the presidential election all the way to the Pennsylvania legislature, which you all can flip both houses in this election. So much is at stake right now when it comes to the issues that we care about, the ideals that drive us, liberty and justice for all, equality under the law, every American having a pathway towards life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are not just our words, these are our mission. I am excited about the commitment and the conviction that I have seen from so many Pennsylvania Democrats, the determination and dedication. This election now is our test, and I know we will rise to the challenge. And so I encourage you, as your friend, as someone who loves Pennsylvania, as someone who knows the potential and the possibilities that not just lie there, but all over our nation. This can be the moment that America, during a very dark time, that we can bring the brilliance and the light of our nation back, not just to our own people, but to the world. We are those light workers now that are so needed. We are truly at a moment of destiny, a moral moment. I know that we will meet this moment with our love, our compassion, our empathy, and our hard work. Thank you, Pennsylvania Democrats. I wish you all the best, and I know most likely I'll see you soon.
Welcome to the 2020 Independence Dinner, which is an interactive virtual celebration of Pennsylvania Democrats, candidates, work, and values. My name is Nina Ahmed, and I'm honored to be elected by Democrats of Pennsylvania to be your nominee for the Auditor General of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'm working hard to be the first person of color to serve as your Auditor General. I'm proud to represent the progress that we are making both in the Democratic Party and in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The work doesn't stop after we have a resounding win on November 3rd, when we turn Pennsylvania a deep blue. Next year, we have an incredibly important Pennsylvania Supreme Court race and will face redistricting for both federal and legislative seats. In 2022, there is a must-win open governor's race, and we have to replace Pat Toomey as a senator in Washington. As Democrats, we realize the importance of protecting and uplifting Pennsylvanians that have historically been marginalized. We must continue to make it a priority to run the most diverse field of candidates we can, including women, people of color, LGBTQ+ leaders, those from various faith backgrounds, and from all walks of life. I look forward to serving as your Auditor General to make sure we have the most inclusive government that leaves no one behind. And I'm so very excited for the future of the Democratic Party here in Pennsylvania.
Hello, Pennsylvania Democrats! I'm Debra Messing, and I am thrilled to be able to speak to the voters in one of the most important swing states in the country. As you all know, reproductive rights are on the ballot in 2020. This nation is full of passionate, outspoken, articulate, proud women, women who run businesses, raise families, write policy, and change history. Women who are more than capable of making their own health decisions. When it comes to reproductive health, Americans of all identities have the right to determine what happens to their own bodies. Those decisions should not be left to the government, especially a government led by the current administration. When you cast your vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in November, you're voting for reproductive freedom. You're voting for the rights of each American, each Pennsylvanian, to determine their own future. Request your mail-in ballot, make a voting plan, and donate if you can. Let's make our voices heard on November 3rd. Thank you for all of your hard work, Pennsylvania. Together, we can send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House. Let's do it.
Hello, this is Martin O'Malley, former governor of Maryland, mayor of Baltimore, and wanting to give a big shout out to Nancy Mills and Sharif Street and all of the awesome leaders of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party. The Keystone State is not only the key to this next election, you may well be the key to our country's future. You all have been coming roaring back with amazing wins, not only at your Supreme Court level, but the Fab Four women who have made your congressional delegation far more representative at the House of Representatives, and also the big gains you've made in 2018 in your House and in your Senate, flipping seats and winning seats with awesome leaders like Steve Santisero and others. So you now have the opportunity to elect a man that I know you already consider your third United States Senator in Joe Biden to save our democracy and to become the next President of the United States, and Kamala Harris the next Vice President of the United States. This is truly a ticket for our country's future. And I wanted to, what is a former Governor O'Malley appearance in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, even by Zoom, without a little song? So, at special request from Mitch Cates, and is this little snippet. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. everybody, this land is your land. This land is my land. So everybody get out and vote for Joseph Biden. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Mark John, Pennsylvania.
Dean here, Congresswoman from the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania, joined by my friends and colleagues. We're also known as the Fab Four, and we're here for an important purpose, to welcome everybody and to say cheers to the Pennsylvania Dems Independence Dinner. This is the 2nd annual Independence Dinner. We certainly didn't think last year that we would be doing this via Zoom, but we'll make the best of it because we have a very exciting election year here in Pennsylvania, up and down the ticket. I know my friends here are going to talk about their areas, but in my district, Montgomery County and Berks counties, it is one of the most passionately excited set of voters that we have seen. Montgomery County turned blue just a little under 10 years ago with the election of Josh Shapiro and Leslie Richards to take the helm for the first time in more than 100 years. Dems took the helm. But I'm going to toss it over to any one of my colleagues to talk about your districts. And we'll just have a conversation again to celebrate Pennsylvania Independence Dinner, which is about working families and about our values.
Matt, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and take over the reins. This is Chrissy Houlihan. I represent the 6th Congressional District. And so Matt and I actually overlap with parts of Berks County, but I'm also all of Chester County. And I also am very grateful to be here today to celebrate and inspire, hopefully, because we have an enormous amount of work to do. In my community, similar story, but a little bit more recent. Here in Chester County, we are blue for the first time in over 160 years that the Democrats have taken control of the county. And I believe that before that, it may be possible that it was Whigs who had control over the county rather than Democrats. So we've seen a ton of growth and energy, as Matt said, this year. It's been the result of a lot of hard work and the right messages and the right kind of striving to make sure that we represent everybody in our communities, regardless, frankly, of party affiliation. And we're going to need that continued hard work to maintain that growth and to be able to, as Matt was talking about, up and down the ticket. It's essential that we're able to deliver for the Democrats and for the Commonwealth as a result. So even in Chester County in 2016, we saw that Hillary Clinton won in my district. But unfortunately, Katie McGinty did not win in my district. So we know that ticket splitting is still very, very real in our community, particularly in the Southeast. And we cannot just rely on the energy from the top of the ticket. We have to make sure that we're working all the way through to the bottom of the ticket. So I'm grateful to be here, and I will pass it over to one of my other colleagues. Perhaps Susan might be able to speak next.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Chrissy. Hello, everybody from Pennsylvania 7, the new Pennsylvania 7. Of course, one of the most confusing things about the 2018 races was that we all started with different district numbers. I don't know about everybody else's team, but we actually had buttons and everything printed up with Pennsylvania 15 on them, only to become Pennsylvania 7 after the redistricting happened. But apropos of what Christy just said, the redistricting, remember, was only at the congressional level. We still have down ballot races that are very gerrymandered. One of the greatest disappointments to me in November of 2018, as delighted as I was to win and to see Governor Wolf and Senator Casey reelected with overwhelming margins, was that the down ballot ticket did not do as well. The state reps who were challengers, really fine set of candidates, and just couldn't break through because of the gerrymandering that still exists there. So we have a lot of work yet to do. I'm really excited to be representing this district, Pennsylvania 7. It's basically the greater Lehigh Valley, Lehigh County, Northampton County, and a sliver of Monroe County around Stroudsburg and East Stroudsburg. This area had been in Republican hands for more than 21 years. My predecessor was Charlie Dent. Charlie's predecessor was Pat Toomey. So that gives you an idea of what this district is like. But I will tell you that what we saw in 2018 and what I'm seeing on the ground here now is that there is just a real groundswell of enthusiasm for Democrats, for candidates that they perceive as being ordinary people and not career politicians. And I think we're going to see a lot of success this year. Mary Gay, why don't you take it away?
Sure. So I'm Mary Gay Scanlon from Pennsylvania's 5th District. Like Susan, I ran in another district in a special election. So I had the former 7th District before the 5th, but you may recall that was the district known as Goofy Kicking Donald. It was the poster child for gerrymandering in the country. But now in the new 5th District, I represent all of Delaware County, share a little bit of Montgomery County with Madeline, and have a chunk of South Philly and Southwest Philly. So it's a very diverse district, but a very passionate district. People are so ready for this election. You know, as Chrissy mentioned, Delaware County is one of the collar counties that just in 2019 became a Democratic majority elected county. So we've had a lot of change here, a lot of energy. When I moved to Delaware County about 26 years ago, you could have held a Democratic Party meeting in a corner Starbucks. Now we have to rent out big halls when we can meet all together. And there's been a lot of organization and a lot of energy going into this. We are seeing so much new participation from young people throughout the region, from progressives, from a lot of, I think what the Trump campaign refers to as suburban housewives, but we refer to as families, women working throughout the district. Most of us do go to work. And we've got so much work to do here. As some of my colleagues have mentioned, we have a lot of opportunities to flip seats in our state legislature, and that's going to be so important as all of our districts get redrawn after the census next year. So very exciting time. I'm so pleased and proud to serve with my colleagues. We've seen so much new interest, particularly from young women in running, and we would so encourage them to you know, do that hard work and get out there and join us, because we're really looking forward to having them do so. So thank you everyone for all of your support. It's a very exciting time. Up ticket, down ticket. We've got a lot of work to do, but we have a real great opportunity here.
One thing I want to identify, which I think you all would agree, is the nation is watching Pennsylvania this election cycle. In particular, they're watching Northeast Pennsylvania and they're watching Southeast Pennsylvania. If we do what we did in 2018, in Montgomery County, we had the highest voter turnout in 2018 of the entire Commonwealth, of all 67 counties. And I think that reverberates well beyond just right here. But we're going to be the one to watch. It's going to be the Keystone State again for Biden Harris, for our row officers, Shapiro, Torsella, Ahmad. I hope for our congressional delegation, and maybe we'll be able to add to our congressional delegation. But importantly, as you all pointed out, the State House and State Senate candidates. This is an exciting year, a year to celebrate our values. As Joe Biden says, a year to reclaim the soul of our democracy. So, Chrissy, I don't know if you had any parting words on that also.
No, I think that that's absolutely true. I think that this is a race for the heart and soul of America. I think that this is a race about civility and decency. We've said that all the time. And I think that it is an absolute pleasure to serve with these women. I am very, very hopeful that we'll be able to grow our majority, or become the majority, at least in the congressional level. And we were able to kind of overtake quite a lot of seats at the state level in Chester County, and there still are a few to be able to be won. So I'm very grateful, as we've said, to serve. I'm going to kick it back over to Susan for final remarks, and then we'll maybe after Mary Gay, we can do the Brady Bunch thing, where we sort of look around at the different boxes and stuff.
Well, the one thing I will say is I want to make sure, and I know this, that everybody assembled here is acutely aware of this, but we cannot take our eye off the ball for 1 second. I mean, we've got a long, how many days out we are, but we've got a long haul ahead of us, even though it's a short period of time. My district with redistricting is one that Hillary Clinton would have won by 1 point. So it just gives you an idea that with poor turnout, you know, any kind of adverse circumstances, problems with voting by mail, that kind of thing, we could see a completely different outcome than we're expecting. So it's got to be all hands on deck. All focus needs to be on November 3rd. And one of the things that I think all of us committed, strong Democrats need to do is make sure that we are lifting up and bringing along some other people who will go in the ballot booth or fill out their ballot application and will vote Democrat. It's just, we've got to lift people up and make them again believe in the power of voting.
I think that's right. I mean, we are seeing greater enthusiasm and interest in our electoral process. People realize that maybe they got a little bit lazy about our democracy, and they're coming out now, and we're so appreciative of everybody who's pitching in with postcarding and phone calls and donations and spending weekends and nights working so hard. The eyes of the nation are upon Pennsylvania. If I read one more story about how we are the Keystone State and the keystone to turning the White House, it's a lot of responsibility, but I think we're really well positioned to do it. And to close out, I want to steal a line from our colleague Jamie Raskin, who always reminds us that if you want to go forward in a car, you put it in D. And if you want to go backwards, you put it in R. So let's all put it in D and drive to the election.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.
Hello, Pennsylvania Democrats. It's Pete Buttigieg bringing greetings from up the road in South Bend, Indiana. We all know that this year has been unprecedented, challenging, tragic in so many ways. And while the stakes of what we are up against could not be clearer, over these coming weeks, let's remember what we have the chance to be for. The story of 2020 is not yet fully written, and we get to decide how it ends. I truly believe that we mobilize the right way going to November and deliver new leadership, from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to flipping the Pennsylvania State House back to blue. This year will actually be remembered as the beginning of a new and much better chapter. Precisely because of what we've been through, the chaos and the cruelty, this could be a moment remembered as when our country finally moved towards something different and better. So please make sure you have a plan to vote early, vote by mail, or vote safely on Election Day. And just as importantly, make sure your family and friends do too. That's how we win. That's how we will restore the soul of this nation and launch the era that must come next. Thank you for being engaged. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay involved.
Everybody, this is Pennsylvania native Kevin Bacon. I'm from Philadelphia, and in Philly, we tell it like it is. So let me be clear about what Donald Trump has done in the past 4 years. He's put the future of our planet in jeopardy, from pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord to killing the Obama-Biden Clean Power Plant. Donald Trump has threatened the very air that we breathe. He has further divided this country by exacerbating racial tensions and refusing to acknowledge that Black lives matter. Instead of pushing for unity, he's encouraging violence and racism in our cities. He's put hundreds of thousands of American lives in danger by refusing to listen to scientists during a global pandemic, and over 180,000 people have died. As a country, we cannot afford another 4 years of a president who doesn't care about us. That's why we need to elect Joe Biden as the 46th president of the United States. He will protect us and unite us. And it doesn't hurt that he's an Eagles fan. Request your mail-in ballot and encourage your family to do the same. And let's send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House. Thanks.
Hello, Pennsylvania. I wanted to talk to you about the importance of this election and the importance of participating and voting, because we have such an important election coming up in November, and this is a human rights election. This is about standing up and voting for the rights of any marginalized community, of which there are many in this country, unfortunately. We are standing up for Black, Brown, Indigenous people, people of color, all people who are marginalized in the LGBTQ community, in the trans community. We have to use our humanity to vote in their best interest for this election. And that means voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and for voting down ballot throughout the ballot for Democratic candidates. So please use your voice, exercise your right to vote. This is an election that's trying to be stolen from us. So we've got to stand together and stand strong and be loud and proud. And when you see something, say something. And when you have an opportunity to do something, vote.
Hello, Pennsylvania Democrats. It's Whoopi here, and I'm really happy to be sending you this message today because there's so much at stake in this election. You know, Democrats need to champion policies that fight discrimination and level the playing field for all Americans. When you vote this November, know that you should remember to vote for equal pay protections, vote for the rights of the LGBTQ community, vote to protect public health of our communities, vote for gun safety policies, vote for criminal justice reform, vote to broaden healthcare access for all Americans. You need to vote like your life depends on it, because of course it really does. And for all those folks who sat out the last election, I just want to remind you that because folks didn't come out and put the vote to work, we ended up in the situation we're in now. All you young people who think that there's no way, you don't have anything to say, look at what's happening. You need to get out and vote because you make a difference. This is what happens when people don't vote. We end up in hell. I'm just saying. Now, I want to thank you all because you've done so much for Pennsylvania. I know you have. And I want you to keep up the good work so that you can get out there and vote. Vote for Joe Biden as president and Kamala Harris as vice president. We got to win this thing because the truth of the matter is our lives really do depend on it. Come on now. Go and get somebody. If you're not sure, if they're registered, go and register as many people as you can. Come election day, get in your car, take people back and forth, ferry them to the voting stations. We've got to make sure that we take this seriously. Because if we don't, we have 4 more years of the hell we're in to look forward to.
Hello, Pennsylvania. This is Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. In Washington, I've worked side by side with Senator Bob Casey on everything from job creation to investing in childcare and prioritizing emergency food assistance. And let me tell you something I've learned. Pennsylvania Democrats get stuff done. To all of the Pennsylvania organizers, poll workers, volunteers, and donors, keep up the good work. With your support, Pennsylvania will flip back to blue in 2020. Thank you all so much. Now let's elect President Biden and Vice President Harris.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Torsella, Pennsylvania State Treasurer. And I wish we could all be together tonight, but I'm happy to be joining you virtually because it reminds us that even in these times, we are still deeply connected, still part of one larger community. As much fun as it would have been to have a few beers together at the convention center, we're gathering in this way because this is how we do right by our friends and neighbors and keep them safe. And that is who we are as Democrats. We look after each other. We stand up for the essential workers who are taking care of the sick and the scared, and keeping our shelves stocked and delivering our packages. And we believe they don't just deserve our thanks, they deserve a living wage. We stand for a government that doesn't leave anyone behind. And that's who Pennsylvanians and Americans are too, deep down. We have seen the inspiring resilience and spirit of Pennsylvania on bright display over the last 6 months. Folks getting groceries for their elderly neighbors, or going out for a run wearing their masks, or pitching in and helping out. That's who they are. And our job now is to remind them that this election is a choice about who we want to be as a country, not just for the next 4 years, but for generations. Now, we have seen what the Donald Trump Republican Party answer is to that question. It's a country where a pandemic can rage out of control and claim far more lives and wreak far more economic havoc than it needed to. It's a country with leaders who fan the flames of our divisions instead of bringing us together. It's a country with a relentless attack on all the institutions and norms of our democracy. But we know we can have a very different future with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, when our leaders will once again reflect the very best of us with steadiness and decency and integrity. A future where we come together again to build back better. A future where our constitutional values are respected again, here and all around the world. That's why I am asking you tonight, every one of you, to give this election everything you've got. Because it isn't just about getting rid of the most corrupt and dangerous president in our history. It's not just about electing a great president in Joe Biden. We're being able to proudly say for the first time in our history the words, Madam Vice President. It's not about just sending me and Josh and Nina to Harrisburg or painting the Pennsylvania delegation to Congress an even deeper shade of blue. This election is about showing America and the world who we really are. History is calling each of us this year. This is the year, Pennsylvania. This is the state, Pennsylvania. And fellow Pennsylvanians, we are the ones who can do it. So let's go win this, and win this big, and make some history. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Franco Harris, Penn State grad and former Pittsburgh Steeler. Pennsylvania Dems have been working hard and putting resources into Western Pennsylvania to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House. So I'm calling on all of Western Pennsylvania, Washington, Beaver, Cambria, Erie, and of course Allegheny County, to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Western Pennsylvania, thank you. Biden-Harris to the White House.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying our virtual Independence Dinner so far. As you just heard from Franco Harris, it takes all of us throughout Pennsylvania to make sure that we flip the Commonwealth back to blue. We're so grateful for the support you've given the PA Dems throughout this year. The PA Dems are strong because of grassroots donors like Jennifer Bannon from Pittsburgh and Justin Reynolds from Bethlehem. Because of your support, the PA Dems have been able to contact voters and galvanize volunteers across the entire Commonwealth. Just last week, our staff made over 2 million voter contact attempts and completed over 11,000 volunteer shifts. That's the most completed volunteer shifts in the entire country. Every dollar contributed to the PA Democratic Party helps us to connect with as many voters as possible so that we can support the Democrats up and down the ballot. Thank you for your support, and thank you for all of your comments so far tonight. Continue to let us know your thoughts in the chat, and please visit independencedinner.com to make a donation. And now, I'd like to introduce our incredible Attorney General, Josh Shapiro.
Hey everybody, it's Attorney General Josh Shapiro, and I sincerely want to thank you for being here today to support our great Pennsylvania Democratic Party. Let me give a shout out and a huge thanks to Nancy Mills and the terrific team leading our Pennsylvania Democrats. They are working their tails off so that we can have a huge victory here in November, up and down the ballot. Look, I remember last time in 2016, that night that Donald Trump won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes. But I also remember that was a night I won by a couple 100,000 votes. And so many other Democrats won as well. We understand that we can win here in Pennsylvania by doing the hard work to get ready, by showing up in communities, including communities that are often forgotten, and by listening. And listening not just with our ears, but with our heart as well. That's the Democratic way. That's what I've tried to do as your Attorney General, and that's what I know so many of these fine candidates are doing day in and day out. I don't have to tell you, Pennsylvania is the battleground state. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris know that. They've got to win here. And we've got to deliver for them and for all of the other Democrats running on our ticket. I want you to know that I recognize now is a moment in time where a lot of people are kind of uneasy and concerned about the voting process. And I'll tell you this, as your Attorney General, I am in court right now beating back attempts by Donald Trump and his enablers to make it harder for you to vote. And I'm also defending the United States Postal Service to ensure that when you put your ballot in the mail, that it gets back to your election office in time. I recognize the president, sadly, is trying to sow doubt in our election process to make you feel powerless in our system. But here's the deal, gang. The great thing about our democracy is that everybody come election time gets one vote. It wasn't always that way, of course, and we have fought for generations to make sure that everybody's counted in our democracy. And so I'm certainly not going to let Donald Trump try to undermine that. Here's the deal. He's trying to make you feel powerless. He's trying to make you doubt our system. Well, I got news for Donald Trump. Pennsylvania Democrats are going to show up. They are going to vote, and they are going to claim the power in this process because it's reserved for the people, not for Donald Trump. And I'm confident with the incredible work that the Pennsylvania Democratic team has done, from the calls to the texts to the door knocks and all of the other organizing, combined with the great candidates we have, and your desire to get out to the polls and have your voice counted there or at the mailbox, that's going to be the difference maker. You're the ones with the power. I'm humbled by your support in the past. I'm grateful for what I know you're doing for me now and in the future, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the opportunity to serve as the people's Attorney General. So look, we got a lot more work to do. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your generous support, and let's keep up that great work and have big victories up and down the ballot in November. Thanks so much. See you soon.
Hello, Pennsylvania Democrats. This is Pennsylvania native and resident Jonathan Groff saying hello, and just preaching to the choir and reminding you all how important this election is coming up, and how these elections are won by a very, very small margin, and every single vote counts. The real reason I'm making this video is I'm actually in Berlin right now, and just got the email verification that my absentee ballot has been verified and is on its way to me here in Berlin. If you know that you're not going to be in town for the election, it is not too late to apply for your absentee ballot. Again, every vote matters. You can do it as soon as possible and still have time to vote. To get that information, all you have to do is call 1-833-PA-VOTES, which is 1-833-728-6837, or go to www.padems.com/vote. It is incredibly easy. I went through the process myself in order to get the absentee ballot. It happens very quickly, and your vote matters. Even if you're not in town or know you won't be in town, you still have a chance to vote and to get that absentee ballot in. So please do. Sending big love to you all and high hopes for the coming election.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm so glad to be here with Congressman Khanna. Congressman, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us for our Independence Dinner. You represent the 17th District in California, but I know you got some strong Pennsylvania ties. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Senator Street, good to see you again. Thank you for inviting me. Well, I was born in Philadelphia and grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Had gone to Penn Salem for elementary school and then to Council Rock, and my folks are still there, so haven't gotten to see them because of coronavirus. We're keeping them safe, but otherwise I come to Bucks County every few months.
You started life on the right track, because I remember Council Rock had a blue track, so you started life right on the blue track. A good place to, a good way to start.
And you were on your team, right? Your high school team.
Yeah,
I would never have made my track team, but
I ran track at Central, and I was at Council Rock, and we're contemporaries.
That's great.
We got a big, diverse party in the Democratic Party. You were active. You were active with the Bernie Sanders campaign. Weren't you chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign?
I was one of the co-chairs. Was proud to do that.
Absolutely. Well, that's great, and it's great that you've wholeheartedly embraced the Biden-Harris ticket.
110%. I'm all in.
Now, talk to us a little bit about your ideas about how we're a big tent party and how we've got space for both progressives, and in Pennsylvania we've got folks that are rural Democrats, urban Democrats in places like where I'm from and where you're from. Talk to us a little bit about Pennsylvania, about the Democratic Party as the big tent party.
Well, I think everyone in the Democratic Party has a simple view that working class Americans haven't gotten a fair deal, that a lot of communities have been left behind, that the economy has been working for people, some of the folks in my district in Silicon Valley and folks in parts of the coast, but it hasn't been working for a lot of people who really deserve better. And Vice President Biden, to his credit, has an extraordinarily strong labor platform. His platform would help support and make it easier to join unions. It would raise wages for every American to $15. He would provide child care to Americans who need that so that they can tend to their families and hold a job. So he's running and has adopted a lot of economically populist ideas to help working families. And that's a totally different vision than Donald Trump.
Absolutely, I would agree. And you know, we really are a party of firsts, and this year is going to be pretty historic. Not only will we have Joe Biden, who represents so many of the working class values, and also born in Pennsylvania, but we've got Kamala Harris on the ticket. She is a Californian like you, but so many of us around the country are celebrating her success, as she will be the first Black woman to be vice president. She'll be the first woman of South Asian descent to be vice president as well, and just the first woman, period. So there's a lot of firsts wrapped up in her. And as a fellow Californian, you had a chance to work with her. Can you talk a little bit about the significance of her as an addition to the ticket, and the significance of her being the first woman?
Well, she's extraordinary. And of course, if you're the son of immigrants like me, you see yourself in her story. But then I started to realize that so many people see themselves in her story. And that's the brilliance of Kamala Harris, that her story is inspiring. And we would often have interns in our office, and I'd often ask them at the end, who's your favorite politician? And almost 2/3 of them would say Kamala Harris. So she excites young people in an amazing way. And I think it's because she represents a multicultural, multiracial future for our country. And it's just so great to see her out on the campaign trail. She brings an energy, an excitement, a confidence in how she's conducting herself. She's so relatable. She gets sort of pop culture and yet is a very serious person on ideas. So I was, of course, thrilled, not just because I've known her, but just for everything she represents for our country.
Yeah, I've been really excited too. I mean, I think this Independence Dinner, this really is a time for us to celebrate so many of our democratic values, making sure we can, Democrats, we may disagree on like how we get there, but we agree on some basic things like everybody, if you're sick, you should be able to see a doctor. Science is real, that we need to make sure that if you work hard, you can get paid a decent day's wage for a decent day's work. I mean, basic values that represent regular folk, and you've done a lot to champion them. And so we're so glad that you were able to join us. And do you have any additional thoughts for us?
Well, I want to thank you, Senator Street, because I know when we met almost a year ago, you were planning to make sure that whoever our nominee was going to win Pennsylvania. And you've done such terrific work with other leaders, Nancy and others for the Pennsylvania party. I feel better about the state of our party. And I hear from my good friend Dwight Evans all the time, all the grassroots energy that has gone into building this infrastructure, challenged because of the pandemic, but you really have the infrastructure. And I would just say this, look, I know the polls look good today, and I know that we're up, but we can't take anything for granted. This is going to be a close election. I think it's going to come down to which side turns out more. If we turn out our voters, we're going to win, and then we can have a progressive future. But we've all got to work hard the next 50 days, put our differences aside, and have the biggest turnout for Biden-Harris that we've ever had for a Democratic ticket.
Absolutely, and we thank you for encouraging us, reminding us that, because although these polls do have Biden-Harris up in Pennsylvania, you know, the polls had us up 4 years ago. We can't ease up. We've got to make sure every person gets out and votes. So thank you so much for encouraging people. And thank you for supporting us in the Democrat here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're going to do our best to make America the best it can be and make sure our future is always better than our past.
You've been extraordinary. I'm honored to have been a part of the Pennsylvania efforts, especially given it's still my birthplace.
And you got some Pennsylvania votes for us too. You got to make sure we turn out your parents' votes.
Oh, now my dad was a local. He's now retired, but he was a local county person for the Democratic Party. He chaired the local committee, and they were poll workers. So they're more active than I was even. So they'll be out and they'll be getting their friends out.
Well, Bucks is now blue for the first time, and for the first time probably since either of us have been alive. Bucks is blue, and it's going to help lead the way, make sure Pennsylvania is strong.
Fantastic. Well, great seeing you, Senator Street. Thank you for all you're doing and your incredible leadership, not just for the party, but for all you do for working families and so many progressive causes.
And thank you for your leadership as well.
Hello, Pennsylvania Democrats. I'm Senator Elizabeth Warren, and I'm sure glad to be here with you tonight. I wish we could have this conversation in person, but just not possible right now. I wanted to be with you because this is a time of tremendous crisis for our nation. A pandemic has killed thousands and thousands of our loved ones. An economy hangs in the balance, and the fight for greater racial justice is more urgent than ever. The problems we face are enormous, and the way I see it, the only way to solve a big problem is with a big, bold plan. And that's one of the many reasons that I'm doing everything I can to help get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris elected this November. Joe and Kamala know the real impact this time of crisis is having on America's working families. And that's why they have plans that will directly benefit people in states like Pennsylvania. Joe's plan to expand broadband access for every American will ensure that Pennsylvanians in rural areas have the resources they need to thrive. Joe's plan to mobilize American manufacturing and innovation will bring union jobs back to Pennsylvania communities and help stimulate the local economy. Joe's plan to increase Social Security benefits will protect seniors across the Commonwealth and allow them to have a safe retirement. These are just some of the ways that Joe and Kamala plan to help restore our economy and to build it back even better than it was before. We face an uphill battle from now until Election Day, and Pennsylvania is a battleground state that is critical to getting Joe and Kamala elected. So I wanted to take a few moments to remind you that the work you're doing during this election cycle will help save our democracy and restore our economy. To every volunteer and organizer and activist working to flip Pennsylvania back to blue in 2020, hear this. Keep going, keep fighting, because the only way we're going to win is if we stand together, fight together, and persist together.
Hi guys. As you know, as some of you may know, Pennsylvania is a battleground state that may well decide this election. As a Pennsylvanian, I just wanted to reach out to a lot of the younger voters and please beg you to register to vote. Register your mail-in ballots, talk to your family about what's important to you, donate to phone banks, because we need this. We need to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office. It is absolutely critical for the health of our country. So thank you for all you do, Pennsylvania Democrats. I'm very, very proud to be from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I'll see you out there virtually. Thanks, guys.
Hello, my name is Jeff Goldblum. I'm wearing this a mask, of course, as we all should, but for the purposes of the clarity of my communication, I might remove it. Don't be alarmed when you see the lower half of my face. Anyway, here goes. There I am. Yeah, you see who it is now. It's me. Hey, how about that thing? I got a clever girl thing, you know, that's from, for those of you who know or might be interested, it's from the Jurassic Park world, because I'm here in England right now filming this Jurassic World movie. I don't want to get too off on that subject. I'm very excited about it. Anyway, here we are in England. But I want to talk to you about something. I've got some remarks that have been crafted for me, which I'm going to render for these purposes, and I think elaborate on them as I read along rather coldly. Hi, Pennsylvania Democrats. I'm talking to you, Pennsylvania Democrats, a very particular group, but a large and robust group. Hello, says I. I'm Jeff Goldblum. I covered that already, and I'm excited to be talking to you all today. Yes, if I haven't said so, I am excited. Yeah, I'm excited. That's accurate. As you may know, of course, I'm other things too. You know, I'm an actor, so I always have at least 2 or 3 things stirring around in my inner pot of mixed emotions. But I'd say predominantly, yes, excitement and delight, and is right up there. As you may know, this says, I am a Pennsylvania native. Yes, I am. That's true. I'm not making that up. I was born in Pittsburgh. Well, I grew up in West Homestead, if you know it. If you're around from those parts, you know. Well, it's not unknown. You know, has a famous history. Homestead. There was some striking business and this and that. Anyway, I grew up in West Homestead. My dad was a doctor. The Goldblums. We were there. Yes, to me, one of the most special things about Pennsylvania, they call it PA or PA here, is the importance of a sense of community. Well, that's true. Well, that's important anywhere. Community. And that's right in the theme of our little shared interest at this moment. Community. Whether you're from one of Pennsylvania's large cities, like me, just outside of Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia, I'm thinking, or one of its beautiful rural areas. Yeah, that's true. You know, I used to tramp around in the woods. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a real. I don't know if he was around Pennsylvania, but me and my friend Bobby D, we used to like to go around in the woods and this and that. I loved the woods. Anyway, it does have beautiful rural areas. Pennsylvania is a place where inclusive communities can flourish. Inclusive communities. More on that later. This year, we have the chance to flip the state House and the state Senate. We can send people to Harrisburg, of course you know, our capital, who actually, where all the government people operate, who actually care about all of our communities, regardless of race, income, where you live, or who you love. That's right. We can send people there who care about those aspects of our communities. Let's elect, and here I'm going to get more specific, let's elect not only Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but Democrats up and down the ballot across Pennsylvania. By the way, do you know the state song of Pennsylvania? We were taught in high school, in junior high school, in music class, and I still remember it. I don't know if it's still or if it ever was. Maybe they informed us, but it goes like this. Oh, the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, finest state in all the land. Join in if you know it. That's all I remember. Okay, anyway, vote with your friends and your families and your neighbors. Vote for the safety and well-being of all of our communities that make up our commonwealth. And as I say that, look, the sun just on cue is coming, I feel it, to cast some light upon our conversation here. I hope that's a good sign. Our commonwealth, I think that's a term that's taken from right around these parts, you know. Like I say, I'm in England way. the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I think that's what they originally called it. By the way, I'm not far from William Penn, where he, after he went over and, you know, made Pennsylvania, I guess, or did whatever he did to make Pennsylvania what it is, he came back here, and believe it or not, he's buried not far from where we're standing right now, like 20 minutes. And look what I had printed out, because I knew I was going to talk to you. This is a picture of his gravestone, of his modest but beautiful and moss-covered gravestone. It says William Penn, 1718. Oh, and Hannah Penn, I guess that's his wife. Hannah Penn is also buried right in there. Cozy. They're both in the same place. He died. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe William Penn died 1718, and maybe she died, Hannah, 1726. I think I'm construing that rightly. Yeah, look at that. And look at even there. Look at, you see our you know, where this English countryside is really something. And it looks like he's buried something in not unlike where we are now. It's very lovely here. Anyway, you know, Pennsylvania is something like this too. Anyway, let me finish up by saying, let's join together, you and I, me and all of you, and flip Pennsylvania back to blue. You know what that means, blue. Any songs we can think of that have to do with blue? What's this song? Blue, blue, my song is blue. Ba, 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 ba. I think that's called Dean Lange. Didn't she have a hit when I was a kid on the radio? Anyway, I'm digressing. Well, anyway, I've taken up too much of your time. Jeff Goldblum again, as I say. Here, hold this if you can, David. I might put my mask back on. Where did I put it? Where did I put my mask? Anyway, thank you for listening. Where did I put my mask? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for listening, Pennsylvania. I love you. I'm there with you in spirit. And as we say here in Jurassic World Land, in Jurassic Park, scary in the dark, I'm so scared that I'll be eaten. Goodbye.
Hey, PA Dems, Giselle's filming this, so obviously you know what's going to happen.
You're totally in the picture, I promise.
But I got to tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you, and I know everybody in the room understands what's at stake for 2020, and I know you're going to do what you need to do to make sure we deliver Pennsylvania to Team Biden and we go back to blue. So thank you for all you do day in and day out.
And we wish we could be together, but this works too, because the fight hasn't stopped. We have to just work harder.
Thank you, everyone.
Hello, Pennsylvania. It's Billy Eichner. Some of you may know me from Billy on the Street, and you may be expecting me to scream at you right now the way I scream at New Yorkers on the streets about pop culture, but I'm going to try to be well behaved because this is a critical time in our country. Look, I know I don't look great. How would you look after 4 years of living under Donald Trump? But seriously, I need you to hear me loud and clear. Please vote. Not only make sure that you're registered to vote, but even more importantly, talk to your family, talk to your friends, the people in your life who think and feel the way you do about our country and the future of it right now. I truly believe that whether we're talking about public health or healthcare or the economy for working and middle class people or racial justice, climate change, LGBTQ rights, all of it, another 4 years of Trump is going to be catastrophic. I think we're on the brink of it right now, and this is our one chance to save ourselves. So please, make sure you vote, and make sure everyone you know who thinks and feels like you does the same. Trump won Pennsylvania in 2016 by less than 1%. Everything counts in Pennsylvania. Every single vote counts. And not to put too much pressure on you, but those of us who live outside of a swing state, we are relying on you to get this done and put this country back on track and get this lunatic and his crazy administration and his insane family and the Republicans who support him in the Senate out of the government and out of our lives. So please, please hear me out. Thank you very much.
Hello, Pennsylvania, and thanks very much for allowing me to say a few words to you today. The message, I think, is pretty clear. I think we all know it. Between today and Election Day are probably the most important political days in the modern history of our country. And all of us have got to do everything that we can to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as our next president and vice president, and to defeat the most dangerous president, I believe, in the entire history of the United States. And when we talk about Donald Trump, we're talking about somebody who is not just a pathological liar, not somebody who rejects science and endangers our health in terms of the pandemic or in terms of climate change, not just somebody who is a racist, who is a sexist, who is a homophobe, a xenophobe, a religious bigot. That's who he is, sad to say. But this is somebody who is moving our country in an authoritarian direction and undermining American democracy. Trump does not believe in the Constitution, does not believe in the separation of powers, certainly does not respect the Congress of the United States and what it does. So for all of those reasons and more, Trump must be defeated. But the reason we are behind Joe and the reason we're going to do everything that we can to elect a Democratic Senate, and I want to say hello to Bob Casey, my good friend. The reason we have got to create a Democratic Senate and maintain a Democratic House and elect Joe is not just our opposition to Trump. It's that we understand that there are tens and tens of millions of people in our country who are hurting today. They are hurting because in the last few months they have lost their jobs. They have no health insurance. Some of them literally do not have food in the cupboard. And some of them are worried to death about being evicted from their homes. So we have got to stand with those families. We have got to stand with every worker in America today who is earning starvation wages, because Joe and I and many of you want to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. We want to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're going to fight for equal pay for equal work. Women should not make 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. We're going to create millions of good-paying jobs by rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. And when we have a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, Joe Biden is president, we're going to have universal, affordable child care. We're going to invest heavily in our public school system, including those who are in the most distressed communities in this country. We're going to fight to make sure that we make public colleges and universities tuition free. We do everything we can to cancel student debt. And the day after Joe is elected, and we got a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, we're going to fight, to continue to fight, to have the United States join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a human right, not a privilege, not a job benefit, but as a human right. And what we also are going to do together is address the existential threat of climate change and create many, many millions of good-paying jobs, moving our economy away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And we're going to pay attention to the racist and broken criminal justice system, which has more people in jail in America today than any other country on earth, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native American. Joe Biden understands, you understand, and I understand. It's far smarter to invest in our young people, in jobs and education, give them a shot at life, rather than building more jails and more incarceration. And together we're going to end the demonization of the undocumented in this country and move to comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship so people do not have to live in fear. And many of us are also going to continue the fight, mobilize people all over this country to end the horrific level of income and wealth inequality in America that exists today, that is worse than any time in 100 years, that has been exacerbated in the last 4 months since the pandemic, where a small number of billionaires have seen their wealth increase astronomically, while so many of our people are living in desperation. And we're going to continue to fight to create a political system in which big money does not buy elections. One person, one vote. And we're going to fight against voter suppression and Citizens United. So my point is that we have two major tasks in front of us. First, we have got to work no matter what our ideology may be, whether we're progressive, moderate, conservative. We're going to have to work together to defeat Donald Trump. And after Joe Biden is elected, after the Democrats control the House and the Senate, we're going to have to fight as hard as we can against a very powerful special interest to create a government that works for all of us and not just the people on top. That's what the American people want, and that is what they deserve. So to my friends in Pennsylvania, thank you so much for what you are doing. Let's go forward together. Let's defeat this incredibly dangerous president we have now. Let's elect Joe, and let's go forward in transforming this country. Thank you all very much.
Hello to my fellow Pennsylvania Democrats. Thanks for this opportunity to share a few minutes with you. I wanted to say thanks first and foremost to our state chair, Nancy Mills, and vice chair, Sharif Street, for their leadership of our party in a critical election year of 2020. We have a great statewide ticket, as you know, led by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and also for our state candidates, for Attorney General Josh Shapiro, State Treasurer Joe Torsella, and Nina Ahmad running for Auditor General. A really strong ticket, in addition to the congressional candidates all across our state, as well as candidates for the state Senate and state House. I'm not sure we've ever had a stronger ticket. And I want to thank you for the work you're doing for those candidates in this election year, and all the work you're doing, not just to get out the vote, but to make sure that we let people know how they can vote, that they can vote early and they can get their mail-in ballots in so that we have an accurate count. So thanks for all that work. And I know that you're doing this work for our party at a critical time for our country. We are living through and really wrestling with still the worst public health crisis in a century and one of the worst jobs crises that we've ever seen in recent history. Just consider in Pennsylvania, the unemployment rate in July was 13.7. That meant that 886,000 Pennsylvanians were out of work. That 13.7 represents the highest percent of unemployment at any time in Pennsylvania in 45 years. And I think if you go back even further, you won't find a higher unemployment rate. So we're going to need a team in Washington led by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that will have a plan in place. And that's one of the biggest differences in the campaign. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have the Build Back Better plan to help manufacturing jobs, to create millions of good-paying jobs all across the board, to get our economy out of the ditch. We're going to need that in Pennsylvania. The other side has no plan to tackle the virus. They have no jobs plan. All they do is genuflect at the altar of corporations. How about on health care? The contrast couldn't be clearer as well. The president and his party are supporting a lawsuit that will destroy the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. That's the law, of course, that brought health care to 1.1 million Pennsylvanians, but they're out to destroy it. The same is true in terms of a contrast on the tax bill. One side, the president and his party, again, genuflecting in that corporate altar, rammed through a tax bill that provided permanent tax relief for corporations, no guarantee of a benefit to workers, and very, very limited tax relief to the middle class, while giving the top 1% a gross, obscene tax cut. Contrast between the parties couldn't be clearer. How about on the protection of our environment? One side stands with polluters, our side stands with a clean environment, an agenda to create the clean energy jobs of the future and to tackle climate change. The other side, again, is on the side of big corporations and special interests. How about on labor and unions? One side is out to destroy unions. That's the National Republican Party. They're out to destroy unions. We're not only in support of unions and labor, we want to pass the PRO Act, which will be a great advancement in the right to organize and to form a union. And I got a prediction for you. If these Republicans have more power, they will support a lawsuit that I'm sure they're already developing to take away the right to organize. So to our union brothers and sisters, we want to make sure not only your rights are protected, but we want to enhance the right to organize. The other side wants to take it away. So we've got a lot of work to do in the next couple of weeks to make sure that we win. I know you're working hard, and I know you want to make sure that we build back better and that we build in Pennsylvania not just a bright future, but a commonwealth in life as well as in name. Let's go out and win in 2020. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for participating in tonight's virtual Independence Dinner in support of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party. I really appreciate your support. Along with the rest of the nation, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has experienced an unprecedented set of challenges this year. We're all doing our part to combat the greatest public health crisis we've faced, certainly in my lifetime, but probably in the last century. We've participated in protests against police brutality. We've shown our support for Black Lives Matter. And we're all working really hard to defeat a president who has absolutely no regard for the core values of our American values or our democratic, and that's with a small d, democratic values. But through it all, we have remained committed to working towards a better future for our state, for our Commonwealth, and for our country. And that is really important. I know that especially over the last 4 years, it has been hard to remain positive. But tonight, I feel a real sense of hope and optimism. And the support you've given to the Pennsylvania Democratic Party has allowed us to work even harder than ever before to mobilize voters in every corner of the Commonwealth. In a time of clear, undeniable uncertainty, we have united to a point where we have the real chance to flip our Commonwealth to blue in November. And that's at the General Assembly level as well as in the presidential race. And for that, and that optimism that you have helped produce in Pennsylvania, for that, I am really grateful. This is the best chance we've had in more than a decade, as I said, to take back the House in Harrisburg, to take back the state Senate. We can't rest until we've done everything we can to be successful in November. And remember, as we bring voters out to vote for those really good Democratic candidates for the House, the State House, and the State Senate, we're bringing out Democratic voters who we hope are going to vote up ticket to help Joe Biden and Kamala Harris win in November as well. So we got to keep working. We can't rest until we've done everything we can to succeed in November. So again, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done to support the Pennsylvania Democratic Party. I am honored to be a partner with you in this effort, and I'm honored to be governor of Pennsylvania. Thank you again.
Greetings, Pennsylvania Democrats, and thank you for all the incredible work you are doing to move Pennsylvania forward. And congratulations to Chairwoman Nancy Mills and Vice Chair Senator Sharif Street on a second successful year of the annual Independence Dinner. Joe and I are so thankful to all of you for the work you have put into this. And 2 years ago, you mobilized Pennsylvania voters to elect the Fab Four to Congress, re-elect Governor Wolf in record numbers, and send my colleague Bob Casey back to the Senate for a historic third term. Not to mention Mark Powell became Lackawanna County's first Democratic DA in 50 years. Last year, the blue wave continued. Pennsylvania Democrats flipped counties that had been in Republican control since the Civil War. And now we have a chance to win Democratic majorities right here in the Pennsylvania legislature and take back the White House on a road that runs straight through Pennsylvania. There is so much on the line in this election. We're in the midst of a deadly pandemic, an economic crisis, a reckoning on race and justice, and climate change that has battered our coastlines with storms and set the West on fire. Meanwhile, we have a president refusing to do his job, stoking chaos and lying to the American people. We deserve better than that. So we have a lot of work to do, and it starts with making a plan to vote and ensuring everyone in your state makes a plan as well. The good news is it is easier than ever to vote in Pennsylvania. All registered voters in Pennsylvania can vote early, in person, or vote from home with a mail-in ballot. Go to iwillvote.com/PA to get all the information you need about voting and make your plan to vote today. If you're planning to vote by mail but haven't requested your ballot yet, go there right now and submit your request. And if you plan to vote by mail, remember to follow these easy steps to make sure your ballot will be counted. When you complete your ballot, in blue or black ink, you must seal it in the smaller secrecy envelope or your ballot won't count. Then, place the smaller secrecy envelope containing your marked ballot in the larger return envelope and sign and complete the voter declaration on that return envelope. Then, mail your ballot immediately or return it in person to an official drop-off location in your county. Remember, you can find all this information and make your plan to vote at iwillvote.com/PA. And thank you again for everything you are doing to help us win this race and take our country in a direction that is about going back on track. Keep up the great work, and let's bring this race home. Take care.
One.
Thank you, Senator Harris, for your words of encouragement. Because of you, girls and women all across the country can see themselves represented in the highest levels of government. We're thrilled to have you as our vice presidential nominee. To all of those watching tonight, we are so grateful for your support of the PA Dems. Every donation you made tonight will help us with our final push towards Election Day. We know the stakes of this election. As Vice President Biden often says, we are in a fight for the soul of our nation. We also know that Pennsylvania Democrats are working harder than ever before to make sure we flip PA back to blue. So please join us in continuing the fight. Stay updated with what we're doing to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. I encourage you to follow us on Twitter at PA Dems and like our page on Facebook. Thank you for being with us this evening. We hope you'll be able to join us for a very special upcoming event on October 14th, a live original cast reunion of This Is Spinal Tap, moderated by Patton Oswalt. And we are going to turn it up to 11 here in PA. Take care, stay healthy, and have a great night. Thank you.
Let's go together. You and I, we got all the time. If we're gonna go crazy, gonna go crazy, gonna go crazy!